Hello. In this particular presentation, I will talk about two types of hybrid vehicles. A hybrid vehicle is one that has two sources of propulsion power. In this video, I will discuss the gasoline/electric hybrid. There are two different types of gasoline-electric hybrids. There is what I call the standard hybrid, and then there is the extended range electric vehicle. I did not make up that phrase, extended range electric vehicle, or EREV. Both are plug-in vehicles. They're plugged in to charge the battery or power supply. To not charge either vehicle would result in not maximizing your money savings or minimize the money spent on gasoline. Most car makers are producing hybrids, and I had access to some specific vehicles, and I will use them as examples of the two different hybrid types. The first example of a standard hybrid is the 2018 Chevy Malibu. The standard hybrid uses the gasoline engine as the primary source of propulsion. And the engine is almost always running, and you must use gas to drive this type of hybrid. The engine may stop when at a stoplight, depending upon the manufacturer of the vehicle and what they programmed into the car. The electric motor will assist the gas engine as determined by the programming that was put in place from the factory. This is usually at highway speeds and when you're accelerating, or some manufacturers will say under heavy load. Then there is the extended range electric vehicle, or the EREV. The Cadillac ELR and Chevrolet Volt and the Ford Fusion Energi are examples of extended range electric vehicle. Electricity is needed to drive the extended range electric vehicle. The vehicle usually has a default drive mode as determined by the manufacturer and is not speed dependent. You can have different modes: electricity only, you can have charge mode, or you can have hybrid mode. Hybrid being gas and electric, the gasoline engine or generator and the electricity from the power supply working together. Make note of that each manufacturer will have their own name for their particular implementation of these different modes. Different car makers will design the default mode, and it depends on what the maker wants to be the default. But you can, as a driver, optionally choose the desired drive mode that you want to be in while in the driver's seat, just by tapping a button on the center console, for example. These vehicles usually have an EV range, that is how far you can drive on electricity only. Once the vehicle has been driven the maximum number of miles in EV mode, the vehicle will start the generator or engine to extend the range that it can be driven. And once that happens, if it's started in charge mode, what I will call charge mode, then you can, while you're driving, your engine or generator can be charging your power supply and increasing your electric only range. And once the generator has refreshed the power supply, the vehicle can again be driven only on electricity. This happens all without stopping, so an EREV provides great convenience, especially while the country is in the midst of switching over from supporting gasoline and supporting electric vehicles. You have your choice pretty much for the next few decades. If charging is not convenient for you, you can run the generator or engine to add to the charge of the battery or power supply. Then you can stop the engine and keep driving. You can keep driving without the engine running. Although the engine will add to the power supply charge, it only can easily save hundreds or a couple of $1,000s per year, depending upon how many miles you drive. For example, there was a time when my daily commute round trip was approximately 100 miles. It was 50 miles one way, so I had 100 miles to go round trip. Normally, using the Cadillac ELR, I would use about 1 gallon of gas for the entire round trip because the generator and engine was used for only part of the drive. And one of the things I made sure of was that my car was fully charged before the night before. And then there's a 2018 Ford Fusion Energi, and this is also an extended range electric vehicle. Now, from my experience with the Volt and Cadillac ELR, I know that daily or weekly stops or even monthly stops at a gas station are no longer needed, resulting in extremely low cost per mile to drive. My Cadillac ELR would hold 9.5 gallons, and typically I did not fill it up. And I usually went to the gas tank, to the gas station about once per quarter, about once every 3 months. And speaking of that, here's a screenshot from my Cadillac ELR. Now, extended range electric vehicles will show just about the same information, but they'll show it in different ways, different display options. This particular shot is from a Cadillac ELR, taken somewhere around 2017, I believe. In this screenshot, 250 plus, you notice, is being displayed, and that is for the most recent trip of 18.4 miles, because no gas was used for that 18.4 miles. Right under that 250 plus, you see the number 98.1. That is the lifetime average, highway and city, since the car has been put in service. The typical hybrid is not going to match this in efficiency or performance. Electricity is faster and much, much smoother. Here's a demonstration with the Ford Fusion Energi. Okay, this is a demonstration of the Ford Fusion Energi. It's 2018 Fusion Energi. Right now, John is discussing what's going on the screen, and he's going to demonstrate regenerative braking. Now, regenerative braking does not require that the brakes are actually pressed. Regenerative braking, the circuitry in the vehicle can tell when the driver has reduced pressure on the accelerator pedal, and the appropriate amount of regenerative braking will take effect. Regenerative braking almost maximizes when the foot is taken completely off of the accelerator. Now, when you do press on the brake, it is maximized. But in order for it to kick in, you do not have to press the brake. Right now, the flow in the car is showing, sometimes it's reversing, going towards the battery, which is over in this demonstration, is over the rear wheels. Sometimes it's flowing away from the battery, meaning that the other things are taking power out of the battery. The climate control, the drive, the electric motors to drive the wheels, and other accessories. Sometimes it's flowing from the battery, sometimes it's flowing to the battery. And that's it for this demonstration. Okay, in summary, all hybrids are going to save you money compared to standard gasoline vehicles. A standard hybrid will easily result in 40 to 50 miles per gallon, and it requires gasoline to be driven. You must stop to charge the battery. The battery is much smaller in a standard hybrid than it is in an extended range electric vehicle. Now, an extended range electric vehicle will easily result in 80 to 100 miles per gallon, as seen via the Cadillac ELR screenshot. And it will be much higher in the city. It can be driven several miles on electricity only. It's capable of adding charge to the battery while you drive, so that you can later on drive using no gas and on electricity only again, if you're driving long distance, for example. Both types of vehicles should be plugged in on a regular basis to achieve the maximum cost savings. Both types of vehicles employ regenerative braking to feed back power into the battery, and regenerative braking begins to feed power back once the driver reduces the pressure on the accelerator pedal. Maximum power regeneration is experienced when completely lifting your foot off the pedal. Regenerative braking has a slight effect while taking place, so it will modulate or slow the vehicle speed. And I want to say thank you very much to Crossroads Ford in Indian Trail, North Carolina, for providing the facilities and allowing John Kalis to demonstrate the capabilities of the Ford Fusion Energi. And thank you. Thank you for listening.